Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be exploring Sweet Tour, which is the on-foot Sweet Tooth section, where you get to explore Blackfield Asylum as Sweet Tooth and get to pick up a bunch of factoids and learn a bunch of trivia and interesting things about the series. It's also the first time in the series that you're able to get out of a vehicle and walk around and explore. It's very exciting. This appears on the Twisted Metal Head-On Extra Twisted Edition, which is the PlayStation 2 port of Twisted Metal Head-On. That comes with not only that Sweet Tour mode, but an extra level for Head-On, known as Transylvania, as well as Twisted Metal Lost, which is more of a playable version of Twisted Metal Harbor City. It also comes with the Lost Ending movies from Twisted Metal 1, which are fantastic and hilarious, and I recommend them. They're all available on YouTube, as well as the Twisted Metal Dark Past documentary, which just has a bunch of interviews and stuff from David Jaffe, Scott Campbell, and others who worked on the series up to this point, sort of giving their perspective and their takes on Twisted Metal and what the history of it has been. But anyway, let's jump into Sweet Tour. Let's check it out. So Sweet Tour, I think, involves a number of factoids that you pick up as you explore the Blackfield Asylum as Sweet Tooth, and just gives you a bunch of like neat little pieces of trivia and information on Twisted Metal. Starts with Sweet Tooth getting lowered into a pit of acid on this platform here. He's a bit chubby in this game. The controls are very tight. They're not the worst controls I've ever played. And for the first time to be able to explore, Twisted Metal, any sort of world on foot, this is very exciting. But our boy Sweet Tooth is a heckin' chonker. This boy is rotund. The music that appears in Sweet Tour is just a sped up version of like songs that appeared in Twisted Metal Black. So I'm going to shut it off for this run through, just to unclutter the audio space. But yeah, it's you're not missing much. So looking close, Sweet Tooth looks a little more cartoony, a little more goofy, I guess, than he looked in Twisted Metal Black, but still a lot darker than what he appeared in, say, Twisted Metal Head-On or 2. So sort of a mix. There's a slightly lighter, more cartoony version of his appearance in Twisted Metal Black. Hair is still flaming. His gloves are bloodied with, I'm assuming, his victims. Boy's got some big boots, some baggy pants, and he's ready to go exploring. We can climb ladders, which is something you can't even do in a Bethesda game, so this game is way ahead of its time. Easily. The animations are a little stiff, a little jank, but for the most part, they're not bad, especially for a game that was supposed to be released in probably 2004, 2005. Not the worst thing ever. The lighting is fairly good. Like, you can see even as I approach a wall, like, his hair will almost act as like a torch. The graphics are not terrible. Like, this is not the worst looking PlayStation 2 experience I've ever had. Like, really not bad. Sweet Tooth has the ability to climb up ladders, but not only that, he can jump, he can punch, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, he runs like a fucking weirdo, but that's the way I'd want him to run. I don't want him to run like a normal person. I want him to run with his arms like at his sides, like an absolute fucking gorilla. I love it. Now we'll continue to ascend the ladders. And the factoids appear as Sweet Tooth heads that just sort of float above ground. And the factoids are very interesting. I love exploring all of them. It's been a little while since I've done this, so a lot of it will be kind of new for me. So I'm excited to check it out. But this first section is just us sort of getting into the upper sections, to the main part of the asylum here. So we encounter our first factoid. There it is, a floating Sweet Tooth head. Looks like the top of his truck in Twisted Metal Black. Just sort of disembodied and then floating in a hallway here. So the first one reads, The Black That Never Was. An entire on-foot section was planned for the never-released Twisted Metal Black Part 2. In those sections, players would have selected both Sweet Tooth and the Preacher and have gone on foot to perform a variety of character-based missions. What you see here is all that remains of those foot sections. The animation is crude, the art is not final, and there is little gameplay. Still, we thought you would enjoy this behind-the-scenes look at what might have been. See if you can locate all of the glowing Sweet Tooth heads in the level. Each head will reveal more about the past of the Twisted Metal series. Thanks for playing our game and exploring the Twisted Past with us. Yours truly, the Twisted Metal team. And they give us a picture of them. So there's David Jaffe, Scott Campbell, that I recognize. Everyone else, I could not tell you who they are, but they dress like early 2000s as possible. Like a treasure trove of early 2000s vibe. We encounter this area with a bunch of cells with some beds and toilets, your typical asylum affair. Another factoid. Twisted Metal levels begin life in one of two ways. Someone has an idea for a cool setting, and then the team comes up with gameplay for that setting. Or someone has an idea for a cool battleground shape that would lead to fun gameplay. As you can see from these images, many levels start as very simple shape sketches, and then expand out to highly detailed maps. Most of these maps are from Twisted Metal 1 and 2. So give us some rough sketches of some maps that appeared in Twisted Metal 2. This looks like one of those, maybe Amazonia, or maybe they're all Amazonia, it's really hard to tell from that sketch. Here we have what looks like Dead Man's Curve Alpine level, which I don't think ever got to actually appear in a Twisted Metal game, which is unfortunate. Looks like would have been pretty interesting. There's a sketch of Suburbia, which is pretty neat. Another sketch of a map that I can't quite make out. Maybe it's, yeah, I don't know. Maybe tell me in the comments what you think that map is, because I certainly can't tell. The resolution is far too low to make out any of that detail, which is unfortunate. Another map here. This looks like the Highway Loop, or Freeway Free-For-All, I think it's called, on Twisted Metal 1. That's what that looks like to me. There's Moscow, of course. Twisted Metal 2's Intergalactic Communications Dish, I think is what it says. The background and all that, so that's pretty cool. Suit City, which I'm guessing is they say Concrete Canyon, so I'm guessing this is probably Riverside Rumble from Twisted Metal 1. But let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about any of that, or if you have any more insights or knowledge to glean from that. So here we come across a fork in the road. The left brings us to electrical, and straight ahead brings us to more. So let's just go to electrical. Some dank, dirty hallways here. Another room with just a single cell is here. Some more doors, armored doors, and then this is the electrical room, apparently. Some pretty like high quality assets, I think. They say the art is unfinished, but I say like in general, this is like pretty good for PS2. You know, a lot of detail, a lot of fun stuff. I think some of it's destructible. Let's have to find what it is and what isn't. There's a factoid in the corner here. Let's check it out. The need for concept art. Concept art is used to aid the game's modelers, showing them what the world they are building should look like. Concept art is also used to sell the core ideas of the level, helping everyone involved get the emotional feel the level should evoke. Sometimes, as you can see from these images, concept art reaches a finished, polished state. Other times, the art is just a rough sketch meant to indicate layout, perspective, or mood. And I love concept art. I love what it does to like make you feel. Like, if they're very evocative, they're very neat looking all the time. I just love concept art in general. So it looks like just a sort of, this is what it's supposed to feel like. A ruined city, some smoke rising, just a really cool perspective there. There's, I'm guessing this is Twisted Metal Black. Given the design for Sweet Tooth up there, it looks very reminiscent of how he appeared in Twisted Metal Black. Ruined bridge section. As Sweet Tooth is ramping off, there's missiles pouring out from beyond his horizon. This Twisted Metal 2 looks like the LA Quake Zone Rumble map, the concept art for that, where you have Outlaw in a helicopter for some reason, all battling it out as someone scrambles up a storm ditch. Looks like the Antarctica level. Once again, just a very cool, evocative image of what that map makes you feel like. Very cool. Moving on, we've reached the end of that road. Go back to that fork. Just another hallway. You know, the fire and safety codes are upheld, even in this awful, awful world. Got a fire extinguisher, highly detailed. Way to go. Maybe the fire extinguisher is supposed to say something about Sweet Tooth, but I don't know. The origins of Sweet Tooth. This is concept art from Twisted Metal 2. As you can see, the city rooftops level originally included flying Sweet Tooth helicopters as bosses, an idea that would not be implemented until Twisted Metal Black. The Darkside vs. Sweet Tooth image marks the first time an artist gave the ice cream truck had a living personality. Seeing the clown with such an evil personality inspired the team to flesh out the driver of the truck itself, applying the vibe of the head on the truck to the driver inside. And then we see some more Twisted Metal 2 concept art with Darkside, who didn't even appear in Twisted Metal 2, chasing down Sweet Tooth there. Although this might be Twisted Metal 1. Actually, not totally sure. That's definitely Amazonia, where you have some more concept art. Nothing to do with Sweet Tooth. For some, I don't know why this is a Sweet Tooth entry without even him. There's a Sweet Tooth robot helicopter thing. They flaming propellers, I guess. Very strange. So neat. Would have been cool to see. We go across another dank, dirty hallway. More fire extinguishers. Lots of fire extinguishers. They are well represented here. Another hallway, a lot of repetitive areas in here, but still, it's a pretty expansive map, and there's two sections of it. This is the intersection. There's a lot more to see than just hallways, I assure you, and then outside there's a even more varied setting. Battle in your own backyard. This is concept art from Twisted Metal Head On. It builds on the theme established back in Twisted Metal 1, destroying the familiar. The team always felt that car combat battles would be more fun and satisfying if they took place in your own backyard. This is why the suburbs have been a staple of the series. The team assumed most players would be suburban dwellers and would enjoy destroying the very place in which they lived. The fairgrounds is another variation on the destroy what is familiar theme. So we see a suburban street there with Axel just absolutely ravaging that USPS truck there. Thumper off in the distance, I assume. It's very cool concept art. Another fairgrounds thing. I always liked this one. Whenever I first saw this picture, I didn't think of it as like them destroying the fairgrounds. I thought it was more like it was like a Twisted Metal like car show, you know, where Thumper was like, I don't know, like everyone's like celebrating Twisted Metal and all the cars are kind of like being exhibited, you know. That's what I always thought, but I guess I'm wrong. I guess it's just they're destroying it. Another fairgrounds one with Sweet Tooth this time, destroying all the things around him. As we continue on, we see a seating area with a disgusting couch, a pallet leaned up against the wall, another safety violation there, as well as a water fountain and a trash can. At least there's some way to hydrate if you get a little tired of waiting. We encounter another fork in the road here, so we'll go left to the rec room and see what kind of recreation we can expect in Blackfield Asylum. So we got a pool table, so billiards is on tap, which is nice. Some vending machines. I think these can be destroyed. No? Okay, apparently not. Ice machine. So they got all the things they need. They got beds, toilets, fire extinguishers, vending machines, well stocked, mind you. Some ice, even though it's rusty and dirty. Hey, it's ice. Some chairs for sitting. You know, they don't treat you bad here. Definitely not. A lot of chains with like bloody hooks. That's what I'm noticing too. A lot of that in this place. We see a War of the Monsters cabinet, as well as a Downhill Domination cabinet. And I don't know if War of the Monsters came out before Harbor City would have come out. Like, I don't know if this was added in before or after, but still, you know, cool to see Incognito sort of showing some love to their other video games. Especially War of the Monsters, which I think is pretty well received. Anyway, let's check out this factoid. Crazy cars. These are cars that were too far removed from reality to exist in the Twisted Metal universe. In the same way the team wanted players to fight on battlegrounds they could relate to, they also felt it necessary to create cars that people would see driving around in real life. Without these reality grounding elements, the game would never have resonated with such a large audience. These images did not fit into that vision and were therefore cut from the game. So we're going to see some wild ass concepts here. What do we got? Helicopter car. I mean, I guess so. Fighter jet tank. That's actually pretty cool. Primeval, I guess. This is very strange. Like a grasshopper, like a praying mantis. I don't know what the fuck this thing is. Okay, well, that's all three examples of it. Those weren't too crazy, but yeah, I get it. You want to be grounded. I understand. We continue through more disgusting hallways. Yeah, we encounter another factoid. Darktooth Design. These are rough designs for Darktooth and Towertooth from Twisted Metal Head On. These are a long way off from the original Darktooth and Twisted Metal 2, which was basically the Sweet Tooth ice cream truck scaled up to a giant size and given a huge number of hit points. With each title, it gets harder and harder to design a Sweet Tooth boss that is unique and special enough to be a boss character while still retaining the core elements of the very simple ice cream truck design. So there we have a Darktooth with its big grabby mouth claws, tank treads for some reason, and boy howdy will he grab you. There's Towertooth, a very cool design for Towertooth. Just it doesn't make any sense. Like we saw the last entry, it was like, oh, we got to keep it grounded, got to keep it realistic, and then they got this fucker with like another clown head on his groin. Weird. Which is it? Are you grounded, or are you doing some wild shit? What is it? I don't know if we actually went through here already. The pit, they call it. So we encounter another fork in the road. I think let's go straight to the control room. So this long hallway. Very steep stairs into the control room, and this is where we encounter our first NPCs. I guess you can call them that. Just it's a couple of guys in a very idle animation, and this is where Sweet Tooth was lowered at the beginning. It's the control room for that. It do be a control room. Very detailed monitors and computers there. Some neat control panels. Very cool. Let's read the factoid. Shoe 3D model. These are 3D models of Sony Computer Entertainment America's Vice President. Oh boy, I don't even want to try to pronounce that. Sony Santa Monica Studios head Alan Becker. The team placed the characters in the game as homage to the executives responsible for some of Sony's biggest hit games. So there's a picture of Shu and a picture, oh, okay, no picture of Alan Becker. Anyway, so these guys, I guess, are in the game. I don't know if it's just for this game or if they were supposed to be in the actual game. But anyway, we can blow them up, turn them into a bunch of meat chunks on the floor. So, sorry, fellas. That's how they pay homage to you. Off we go. Sweet Tooth doing some pretty wild maneuvers here. And where's that fork? Fork in the road. Turn left this time. Cafeteria. This way we'll go to the cafeteria first. Let's see what kind of grub they're munching down on. But first, factoid hover cars. Focus test reception was so poor for Twisted Metal 1 that the team explored the option of turning the vehicles into hover cars for the sequel. It was believed that the focus test results were poor because control of the Team 1 vehicles was too confusing and frustrating. The team felt hover vehicles would be easier to control and more user-friendly. However, once the positive reviews and fan reaction from Twisted Metal 1 came in, the team decided to stick with standard vehicles, which I think was a great decision. Hover cars would have been kind of lame, I think. But cool concepts for sure. I don't know, it is harder to connect to like a hover car thing. I don't know, it's something about it just seems like, eh. Spectre looks amazing, like really super cool. And there would have been some cool opportunities for like, you know, creative maps like this. You know, it was like a flooded New York City with like lightning and stuff. Like, but I think they made the right call. And moving on into the lunchroom, the cafeteria, which I don't think has any other factoids in it. We can see some of the kitchen stuff in there. Another fire extinguisher. Once again, these guys are well prepared for Sweet Tooth and his flaming head. There's a lot of really like, I don't know. I just like looking at the assets. You know, like how much like effort and stuff went into these assets that they created. More vending machines, tables and whatnot. Then you know some cooking ware back there. Very cool. We move on. Continue. Another glowing factoid. Selling the vision. While the development team may be excited about making a game, other folks need to be just as excited in order for the game to get the support it needs from the various departments. Marketing, sales, PR, etc. The following images were created to sell the vision of Twisted Metal to other departments within Sony. There's Urban Assault, which is the original name for Twisted Metal, was High Octane, and Urban Assault were the two different ones. Urban Assault, Christmas 95 from Sony ImageSoft. Urban Assault, another cool poster there. Yeah, there's Twisted Metal Wasteland design document. Twisted Metal Wasteland was, I think, one of the early designs for Twisted Metal 2012, I think, before they actually came up with that. I think this was one of the ideas. It was going to be like a apocalypse or something. It's very, very neat, very interesting. I don't know why they never did that one. There's a picture of Sweet Tooth running through the very halls that we're in now with a shotgun. So basically it just seems like concept art, but it's just used to get the people going. Anyway, we encounter another one, the evolution of Sweet Tooth. As you can see from the photograph taken during filming of the Twisted Metal 1 end movies, Sweet Tooth was at the start simply a circus clown. He did not even have his trademarked flaming hair. But by Twisted Metal Black, the classic look of Sweet Tooth had emerged. From chicken scratch sketches to full-blown CG character models, no expense was spared in bringing this mascot character to his current incarnation. So there's the early version of Sweet Tooth, the circus clown. I think he's choking David Jaffe. Look out, Jaffe, he is quite dangerous. To these janky-looking fuckers. I don't like these guys at all. These are very upsetting images to look at. Another guy like this guy embodies like a meth addiction. Like, I don't like these versions of it, but these kind of do remind me a little bit of the Sweet Tooth gang, the Clowns gang in 2012. Kind of has a lot of that vibe. Some more mask designs they tried out. None of those look great. They all look terrible. And then finally what we have with Sweet Tooth now, just a like positively ripped. This guy he's got some beef, got some muscles there. Yeah, they're Sweet Tooth. They're just very horrifying but interesting design. And we move on to the boiler room, I guess. Another fork in the road. There's so many fire extinguishers. It's all fire extinguishers. Like, I don't know who's like their vendor for fire extinguishers, but they're eating good in this universe. And we're in the boiler room, and there's like an infinite pit down there, I guess. The beginning of an idea. These are sketches of various play ideas, drawn over the course of Twisted Metal's 10-year history. Hundreds of pages of game design notes were created with various members of the team, contributing to the game's design. Many elements of the Twisted Metal series arose from these sorts of rapidly sketched, spur-of-the-moment bursts of inspiration. Some sort of napkin sketches here. Little bar napkin sketches of, I don't even know what the hell's going on. These are awful. My goodness, like, this became Twisted Metal. And you wonder why people say there's not a lot of depth, because Good lord. Anyway, we continue through here. We find the exit there. I don't want to go to the exit quite yet, so let's continue back through here. So I don't want to go outside until we get everything found. So that was the boiler room, so I guess if we went straight, we already did this factoid, right? Yeah, we got that one. Okay, I guess the next best thing is just to go outside now. We've explored all of that. Another factoid here. The prison ship. From rough sketch to finished level, these images show the progress a level goes through as it grows, from an idea to a fully functioning battleground. Oftentimes, as shown in the double image, a simple 3D level is handed over to a concept artist who will draw on top of that 3D art, creating the details and transforming a level from a dull world of gray shaded blocks to a believable 3D battleground. So we'll see what that looks like. So it looks like the prison ship level. You can see the boat docking into port with a ring, that ring road that goes across the entire thing, and then it turns into a basic gray blocky whatever, a very simple 3D model, more basic 3D model, like actually very interesting to look at. It's really cool. And then on top of that they draw. That's so cool. I actually didn't know that's how it worked. That's very interesting. Yeah, well, they have the the basic 3D model, and they draw on top of it. That's so cool. Before we move on to the next area, I want to see what's inside of Sweet Tooth's head. I don't see all of Twisted Metal Black inside of there, so I think we need to reevaluate some things. Does he have eyeballs underneath? Like, he has the one broken eye. Oh no, that's so weird. He has both eyes are visible. So shouldn't he have one eye covered up, how he appears in the game? I don't know. But it looks like he does have eyeballs, fully modeled eyeballs. His mask is just part of his face, which is interesting. Interesting. Is there anything else we can find inside of his body? His camera is like kind of weird. I think he's just, everything's the same on the inside, I guess. Yeah, that's very interesting. Alright, moving on to the next thing. Going wacky. Designing a new Twisted Metal game, there's always seems to be a desire to go wacky with the car designs. It's a temptation the team has always resisted, feeling like going wacky while generating a laugh or two would hurt the thematic integrity of the title. Here are some fun but wacky vehicle designs that felt too silly to include in the Twisted Metal universe. I guess that's I mean, Meter Maid kind of did that anyway, just without the big guns on it, I guess. So that's not that funny. A tractor, I guess. I don't know, like, you have a guy named Axel who's, like, literally just a guy between two wheels. Like, I think you're fine to make a tractor. A golf cart with Sweet Tooth inside of it. I mean, yeah, I guess that's a little silly. And then we have this, I'm guessing, entrance area. Some shelving with discarded rags and bloody hooks. A stairwell that I don't think is accessible, which is unfortunate. Behind the desk, we have more control panel whatnots. Another chair that's not destructible, unfortunately. And then a door here. I don't think we can see inside that door too well. Looks like it's just an empty room, perhaps. All right, so let's go outside. And we move on to the impound lots, which is where this will conclude. Although I think there's more factoids outside than were inside, at least somewhere around there. Yeah, like about half and half. But the impound lot is a little more visually appealing, a little more varied, and sort of a junkyard sort of dealie. We encounter our first factoid that says Twisted Metal rejects. For every vehicle that makes it into a Twisted Metal game, there are 20 or more that end up in the reject pile. Sometimes a vehicle gets cut because it's too similar to another vehicle already chosen for the game. Other times a vehicle is rejected because it looks bad from the games behind the car view. Here are some vehicles that over the years found their way onto the yes list several times, only to be cut from the game at the last moment. So we have a school bus, which I can only imagine that was cut because of Vigilante 8 sort of sucking up all the oxygen in the battle bus realm. We have Mr. Grimm. I mean, like, that's just Mr. Grimm with like a big fuck off windshield. I mean, come on. A fire truck, which they kind of did that with Minion in Twisted Metal Black, only it was the same idea, like a torch on the top. I guess from behind it would look kind of like dumb, but like, so does fucking Sweet Tooth, so does Mr. Slam. Like, come on. Limousine, which did appear in Twisted Metal 2012, which again, like, you have a car like Shadow, which is like ridiculously long too. It's not like that's not weird. I don't know. Predator car, which I think was just silly looking. Like, just, yeah, I wouldn't like to see that in Twisted Metal either. All right, moving on through the junkyard. Sweet Tooth seems to not like to jump into a weird pole. Also, one thing I've always noticed with like the Twisted Metal Black universe is like all of the like light posts and like cars, everything's like weirdly shaped. It's very strange. Like, we see this light post, it's not a straight line, it's just like a weird crooked thing. It's very funny. Anyway, let's ascend the ladder. Do it, Sweet Tooth. Do it, Bethesda never could. Get up that ladder. All right. So up here, I think it's just a little raised section. Some doors. One of them is accessible. With inside, there is a empty room, save for a factoid in the corner. The Evolution of Axel. Axel was inspired by a game tester on Twisted Metal 1. The tester suggested a vehicle with a cage sandwiched between two giant wheels. A man would sit inside the cage and control the vehicle. The idea of a man strapped between the two massive tires grew from this core idea. This concept art shows how Axel evolved from that initial concept to the staple Twisted Metal character he has been since. There's Axel there. That's the Twisted Metal Black version, I'm guessing, where he's just like this tortured soul dragging his feet across a hot asphalt as a perceived penance. And then we have this guy with breasts, apparently. It's like a torture device. I don't know. It's very odd. Moving on. That looks like the Twisted Metal 2 version, where it is like on a platform standing there, which is pretty cool. I think I prefer that version more than from Black. Another version of it. That's where it became the shredded dude in his underwear. I guess they put pants on him at some point. All right, continuing on. Another closed door and an area we can jump down. I don't like that these controls are like inverted. Like the camera is like, I guess it's not inverted. It's not inverted. So like down is down and up is up. My brain cannot wrap itself around that idea. So we have some tow trucks. Like these models of like the trucks and the cars, like they look like realistic, which is a little jarring. Like, I mean, they're obviously not super highly detailed or anything. Like the models are pretty basic. They seem pretty flat and all that. Like it just seems like textures on a box, but like they look like they're trying to go for realistic versus like any sort of like strong artistic design, which I definitely don't think was the case in Twisted Metal Black. Ruined bus, some rusty walls and gates. Perfect. And here we have vehicle concept art. Attempts are always made to give Twisted Metal vehicles a flourish that will elevate them from simple cars into full-blown characters. But balance is necessary. Too much flourish and the fantasy of car combat is lost. Too little and the vehicles feel generic and bland. In these images, notice the drooping headlights on the taxi, meant to suggest a tired, worn-out character. Even the smiley face on the tow truck's wrecking ball is an attempt to spice up what would otherwise be a generic and thus dull vehicle. So there's a taxi cab that is over this shit, just completely done with it. We have a tow truck with a smiley face on it, very fun personality there. A tank with an American flag draped over its turret, very patriotic, very inspiring. I think we have the little man there in his, looks like a flannel shirt, just super excited to be just part of the fun, and he's having a good time. A lot of personality. That's one thing I do enjoy about the cars in Twisted Metal, especially Black, is that they're designed so well that they do have kind of personalities of their own. It's very, very interesting. A little section here. This is private container. I guess so. Caution. Just some neat little stuff there. Crusher with some vehicles up there that are waiting to find their fate. Their factoid. Traps. The on-foot levels of Twisted Metal Black 2 were slated to contain various platforming gameplay challenges, like the one you see before you. Collision on the traps, as well as the careful timing needed for any platforming play challenge, was never completed. This is why you can walk through any of the traps and platforms challenges in this level and not get hurt. Enjoy. We won't go so easy on you next time. So it's warning us about this area here. We can attempt to do it properly, and then I'll just walk through the trap. So you're supposed to... Oh, I missed anyway. Yeah, but yeah... Oh, there's a climbing animation. I never actually noticed that. Like, he actually has a decent climbing animation. Just a little jank. And we'll attempt to run through this. It's a very interesting trap there. Yeah, I can only imagine what the death animation would be if I fell in there. It'd be like very gruesome, I would imagine. Sweet Tooth just getting completely destroyed. Some more buses. A lot of buses here. Fire extinguishers and buses are not scarce in this society. What would Sweet Tooth do? Notice the trash cans on the front of the truck. These images from Twisted Metal Black show an attempt to create a world where contestants use what they had around them in order to fortify and defend their vehicles. Stepping away from the fantasy-based Twisted Metal 1 and 2, where cars battled with no armor at all, Black attempted to create a more realistic version of what a Twisted Metal contest would be like in the real world. As it looks like a pickup, which I don't think was ever used in Twisted Metal Black. This was a concept art for Twisted Metal Harbor City, I believe, where the pickup truck would have like an acid cannon on the back. Never actually got put in the game, which is unfortunate. We have Darkside. There's another fantasy vehicle that doesn't have any armor whatsoever, despite it being a hunk of metal. We have Yellow Jacket, now turned into a, it's a sad taxi cab with a bunch of armor on it. We have this battle bus with a fucking monster's rib cage on the top, which is pretty fucking metal. I actually like that a lot. Very cool. My favorite, design as far as a car in black having that sort of personality and extra armor and stuff is I really like Darkside having the cop car stapled to the front the way it is. I think that's hilarious. I love that. And as we explore these down parts, so this is the trickiest part of the whole thing. Let's see if I can manage this maneuver. You have to jump on here and scale the wall with this jank ass slow animation where he's swinging across, just shimmying. What a band. What upper body strength. He is truly peak male performance. Alright, Sweet Tooth, that's enough Got some tires here that are indestructible, just completely unbothered by Sweet Tooth's punches. Sweet Tooth, please, stop doing this. Jump, Sweet Tooth, please. Oh, you're a madman. Jump on top of the box. Top of the box, Sweet Tooth. Go on, jump. Sweet Tooth, please. Good God, please. Oh my God, Sweet Tooth, please, just get up there. Why won't you get up there, you animal? You absolute animal. I think I have to jump from here to there. There we go. Now we'll shimmy across. He fell off, you son of a bitch. Alright, Sweet Tooth does not have hardcore parkour capabilities. That's why he stays in his truck. He is no good on foot. Maybe he's not actually a serial killer. Maybe he's just so clumsy that despite his best efforts, he ends up killing people because he's just so uncoordinated. Oh my God, this is so slow. This is ridiculously slow. Like, if this was the final game, I think I would shut it off right here. Like, I would not progress any further. Like, I don't care how good the rest of the game could be. This is unforgivable. Bonkers. Actually bonkers. Okay, now I'm on top of it. Fantastic. I guess I'll just get on top of there. I don't think I can jump into the next area. Yeah, no, I can't. There's a factoid here on the ground. Great. Reoccurring themes. These images show concept art for a shopping mall, a freeway, and a city rooftops. 3 locales that come up for discussion each time a team makes a new Twisted Metal game. Rooftop and freeway levels seem to make it into every title, but the shopping mall discussed as far back as Twisted Metal 1 has never made it into a Twisted Metal game. The challenge has always been having enough texture space so the shop fronts inside the mall that would look different from one another. With limited texture space, the game would have to repeat the same hobby shop storefront, for example, over and over and over. In a game where split screen is a huge factor, not being able to glance at your opponent's screen and know which of the 10 hobby shop storefronts he is racing past makes for really bad gameplay. I guess that's a dumb reason to find. And that's Goth, I think. So that actually was going to appear in Twisted Metal Black 2 in Harbor City. And there was even a playable version on some of the dev kits, or some of the early builds that people have scavenged and found. So if you're actually interested, you can look up on YouTube some gameplay of people on this map exploring it. It's actually very interesting. There's another freeway map, well represented all across the series. And that looks like another freeway map, or a rooftops map, maybe. That looks more like rooftops. There's that black box that Twisted Metal 1 ending for Crimson Fury and Warthog is all about. Making a cameo appearance. Very cool. Now over here we have some hazardous waste barrels, I imagine. Or maybe just oil drums, I don't know. Who knows? There's no way to know. Now over here we just have some more winding pathways with brick walls and rusty fences. Some more like somewhat realistic cars. It's very bizarre, like how detailed the cars are. Over here, I don't think there's much here. Can you shimmy up the light pole? Is that possible? I don't think so. Now here's another platforming section that should be able to kill us, but does not because the game is what it is. Which I think this is reminiscent of the elevators map on Twisted Metal Black. It's kind of what it reminds me of. Pitfalls of concept artists. One of the pitfalls of having amazing concept artists on the team is that people get swept up in the drama of an image and forget that the actual game, no matter how good the graphics, will never look like the art. It is not a graphics issue, it's a camera perspective issue. The game could not be played from the dramatic cameras shown in these images. Because of this, the finished levels, some having graphics that look very close to the concept art, lack the same punch that the concept art delivered. See, a double-edged sword with having good concept art. Like, I mean, yeah, that's such a cool, evocative image. You know, like the, that rundown motel or whatever, and then Bobo the Clown, the Carnival of Darkness. These are definitely some Harbor City concept arts. This looks like a Twisted Metal 1, I believe, which, yeah, again, you just can't replicate that in-game. Also, why does Spectre have these big-ass monster truck wheels? Strange. All right, moving on. So we encounter some more winding paths. Fantastic. Can't say enough good things about these winding paths. More shipping containers. I guess there's a lot of reused assets, but still a lot more, like, unique, cool art in this game than I expected. You get to our next factoid. Same body, different skin. Oftentimes a car will be chosen to go into the game, but the debate over the skin that covers the car's body will go on for months after. In Twisted Metal Black, the black and white police car became Crazy 8, the rusted red old-time stock car. The other image is Severed Sand's modern-day race car, seen in the bonus Twisted Metal Black levels. This car went through many color variations before the team settled on the final color choice. There's the original version of Crazy 8, who was at first Outlaw, and then the Outlaw that appears in black was Warthog, and then Warthog in black was White Knight, and then they all sort of swapped places. So Outlaw became Crazy 8, Warthog became Outlaw, and White Knight became Warthog. There's some Severed Sam stuff, which is like, I mean, it looks the same either way. Like, there's nothing that stands out about any of those pictures right there. Like, it was going to be a dumb car no matter what, but they tried. And I think, yeah, this way, okay, we go this way to another platforming section where I don't think we can fall to our death in that gross water with all sorts of diseases and whatnot, but we'll try our best to scale these tricky platform sections. We made it. Congratulations. But if anyone's curious what would have happened if I fell in, here you go. You would just stand on the floating ground. Very fun. So we continue down this path. Another winding path through here. Another winding trail. And another ladder, my favorite. Love the ladders. What's over here? Nothing, apparently. And he is stuck in place. He is stuck in his walking animation. I wanted to see what he looks like mid-animation. His flames never going out. Very interesting. I make that the fucking thumbnail. That's great. All right, up the ladder, Sweet-Tooth. Bethesda is shaking in their boots, unsure of how they can continue. Here we go, factoid. Game design. Game design concepts are usually sketched out or paper designed to determine if they will be worth putting into the game. Here are some gameplay-specific images, including interactive billboards that never made it into Twisted Metal Black, the much-hated hover cops from Twisted Metal 1, and a whole slew of gameplay concepts from a designer's sketchbook. If you look closely at the sketches, you can see initial concept for the ejector seat play mechanic that found its way into Twisted Metal Black. The ejector seat? What the hell? What does that even mean? There's no ejector seat. I guess when they die, like they run out of their exploding car, I guess. You have your Eat Ya Noodles billboard, which I guess you can drive through or something. You have a Las Vegas slot machine billboard, which I guess you can climb it to its mouth and something. A bunch of notes that are as low res as possible. Some hover cops designs, and I guess that's it. All right, great. And now we go across these very difficult, treacherous path. Top these like electrical cables, I guess. Some more boxes. And this is where I got stuck for a long time. I didn't know where to go. But it turns out you're supposed to like punch that skylight. You can enter the garage area where there is a couple of factoids in here, I believe. Another bus over there and a factoid in the back of the garage. This garage reminds me of in Twisted Metal Black Online. There's like a different menu in that game that shows like a garage with like the different cars like on these like lifters or whatever. I don't know. It's very cool. So this reminds me of that. The ice cream truck. The ice cream truck for Twisted Metal Black took 6 months to design, with over 300 concept sketches done before the team locked on the final version. In the following images, you can see the attention to detail that went into everything from choosing the right clown head to figuring out what was inside the back of the truck itself. You can also see the original art. Of the ice cream truck labeled Demonic Ice Cream Truck that was designed well before the character of Sweet-Tooth was even conceived, which is interesting. It's weird that the Sweet-Tooth came after the truck. You have some of the clown heads that go on top. None of those appeared in Twisted Metal Black. There you have the truck itself, the sort of 1950s milk truck sort of vibe, which my favorite version of Sweet-Tooth for sure. 100%. You have the Demonic Ice Cream Truck from Twisted Metal 1 shown off there. That design's cool. It's like the box thing. I'm not super into it. That's the worst one by far. Holy shit, that's terrible. It's like a, oh my god. Is that a ball gag in his mouth? My goodness. He has some stuff in the back of his van there. That's a cool design. I mean, that's what you would assume, with the darker serial killer route, what that would entail. It's very cool. And that's the iconic Sweet-Tooth right there. That's more or less what appears in Twisted Metal Black. All right. Now we can move on to the other area. There's a lowered section, but let's look at some of the assets in here. You have some toolboxes, some more bloody hooks, whatnot, oil drums, engine parts and whatnot, tires. Just, a lot of neat assets that you would never get to see playing Twisted Metal because you're always blazing past stuff at 100 miles per hour. Never get to slow down and check that stuff out. All right, down here, for whatever reason, there's more stuff. The evolution of Mr. Grimm. Grimm began his life as a mysterious badass on a motorbike. From there, as these images show, the team flirted with giving Grimm an animated skeleton riding shotgun in the sidecar. There was also the concept of a decaying department store mannequin sidekick. One version of Grimm showed him as a man wearing the head of a slaughtered bull on his head. Fresh spins on an old character is one of the trademarks of the Twisted Metal series, keeping the characters and stories fresh from game to game. Which the slaughtered bull on someone's head, they definitely reused that for our boy Minion, Twisted Metal Black. So there's Grimm with he's a mannequin and a demon skeleton. Very interesting. Another Mr. Grimm with a skeleton in the sidecar is having an absolute fucking blast. That dude is getting it right now. Good for him. Live your best life, demon skeleton. And there's Mr. Grimm there with his iconic Twisted Metal 1 design. Yeah, the slaughtered bull helmet. I guess they thought this was so good that they reuse it somewhere in the game instead of for Mr. Grimm. But I think it kind of fits Mr. Grimm pretty well. I like that design. Now we're up here, the other side of that bus. Some more engine parts and tools and stuff scattered about. Then a weird green glowing thing. I don't know if that's like a lamp or what. Something green on that wall. Very strange and interesting. We go back outside where I think we're entering the final stages of Sweet Tour. We have a searchlight up there. I can only imagine that would have been another hazard to try to avoid. Maybe like somewhat like a stealthy section or something. Exploring this area further, we have another factoid in the corner. In-game arts. These are 2 posters designed to go in the game world of Twisted Metal 1. The image of Calypso can be found in the arena level of the first Twisted Metal. The image of the hover cop admonishing players of Urban Assault, the game's title when it was in production, did not make it into the game. So there's the Calypso Welcomes You, Urban Assault 2004, which I guess does appear in Twisted Metal 1 in the arena map. Playing Urban Assault is a crime, which I guess that never got to appear, which is funny. That's great. That's a cool design. And I think there's that. A lot of watchtowers here, so I guess you would have to avoid like getting seen, otherwise it'd like shoot you or something. Another factoid here. Moody Characters. The world of Twisted Metal has inspired a great deal of moody concept art. Oftentimes the art is designed solely to convey the mood of the game, never intended to be used for game production. The following images show some of the moodier art created for the series. The last image is a storyboard from the Evangelist sequence in Brimstone's end movie from Twisted Metal Black. The last image is a storyboard from the Evangelist sequence in Brimstone's end movie from Twisted Metal Black. So there's some Dollface stuff, Bloody Mary. Very cool design. I don't like that version of Dollface though. Like something about like seeing her legs exposed is like weird to me. I don't know. Like just the full body leather suit's fucking way cooler. There's Bloody Mary wearing her iconic wedding dress. There is Sweet Tooth with like a very upsetting like art style there. More Sweet Tooth there cutting up the Evangelist, which if that's from his end movie, why would Sweet Tooth be involved whatsoever? And there's Sweet Tooth once again, like just haunting. These images are insane. Like these are cool, like very evocative, expressive images. I like these a lot. Like I'd put that on my wall. Like give me a poster of that, man. That's great. Continuing on, another tow truck with a car strapped to the back. There's Sweet Tooth's truck there. We have one more, before we can get to Sweet Tooth's truck, we have one more factoid over here. TM2 Master Maps. Once a level is laid out, concept artists create a high-level map of the entire battlefield. The image helps team members get a good sense of the level as a whole, as well as capturing the visual mood and feel that the level should have. The following images are high-level master maps from Twisted Metal 2, which should be pretty cool. That's a master map? That's interesting. So what the fuck is that supposed to be? That's not from... What is that of? I don't know what map that is. That's very strange. That's Antarctica, I can definitely tell that. That's Amazonia, of course. What was that first map, though? What the hell is that? Like, it looks a little like Quake Zone Rumble, but I don't know. That's interesting. It also looks a little bit like maybe New York, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Cool. All right, now we have one more factoid before we can bounce on out of here. Is there any other stuff we can explore? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else of interest. It's all just boxes and broken cars. All right, let's get that last factoid and head on out. The Lost Toys. Over the years, toy companies have routinely approached Sony, hoping to get the go-ahead to create a line of Twisted Metal toys. From action figures to collectible cars, many companies have expressed interest in bringing the Twisted Metal universe into the world of toys. While there are currently no plans for a Twisted Metal toy line, the following images show some of the prototype toys made in hopes of bringing final toys to the market. Mr. Grimm from Twisted Metal Black is a figurine. Very cool. Sweet Tooth, that is awful. What an awful toy. I would never buy that. No one would ever buy that in the history of anything. Little Sweet Tooth ice cream truck, which doesn't even look like Sweet Tooth. That looks terrible. Wow, yeah, no wonder there's no Twisted Metal toys. They all fucking suck. All right, that's it. Congratulations, you have achieved all the objectives, it says. We will save our progress for no reason. There's no benefit to it. There's no prize. There's no anything like given to us. All we can do is just go back to the main menu. Get a good look at his truck, this is the view we've never got to really see of his truck up close. Some of the texture work going on there. Good for Sweet Tooth. Good for him having a nice, well-kept truck. So this has been Twisted Metal Head-On's Extra Twisted Edition Sweet Tour mode. A very unique thing in gaming. I don't think I know a single other game, like franchise, that offered something even similar or close to Sweet Tour there. Just like it's almost like a museum of Twisted Metal stuff. And I think it's very cool, very interesting. So thank you for sticking around and watching this. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about what we just saw, what we experienced. And I hope you have a nice day.